Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Yet another episode of Crushing Fantasy Football. I am Bryce Lockridge, your host of the show. All right, guys, if you haven't been catching my live streams, I am turning this channel into a multifaceted channel where I give you these videos on a weekly basis. Not only that, I'm going to be live streaming on a weekly basis. So if you haven't been catching my rankings on a week-to-week basis, I am doing running back and wide receiver rankings every single week via live stream so you can interact with me while I do my rankings. So make sure you catch those live streams. In today's video, we are going to be talking about must-start defenses for week 3 of the fantasy football season. Now, these are not defenses that you probably drafted. These are defenses that could be on your bench. They very well might be on the waiver wire, and they have smash matchups this week. We know that defense can win weeks in fantasy, so we want to make sure that we are getting our best defense on the field this week. So I'm going to be starting right here with the first defense on my list, and that is the Green Bay Packers. Now, obviously, we have ball hawkers in this defense, such as Jair Alexander. We do have a very solid pass rush in Green Bay, who's going to be getting after Will Levis in this game and causing him to potentially force turnovers. So, he's definitely a quarterback that's capable of, multiple turnovers in a game. I think we could see that this week. I don't think he's going to have any time to pass. They're going to be getting after Will Levis. He's going to be forced to move and maneuver out of the pocket and throw the ball on the run. He's not as good throwing the ball out of the run as he is throwing out of the pocket. We know that he's probably not going to be able to complete those deep balls to Calvin Ridley this game because he's not going to be able to have time to pass. This offense is not going to function as well going against Green Bay. They are dead in the water this week against the Green Bay Packers. And I think that Green Bay is one of the best defensive streaming options at the defensive position this week. Next defensive streamer on my list is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, this is the one defense on this list that might not be considered a streamer. They're potentially a starting defense for you. But to me, it was like right on the fence. Like, is this a defensive streaming option or is this a start it every week defense? Because in this video, I'm not including any of the obvious must-start defenses where, like, you drafted, like, the Jets defense, or the Bills defense to be your top defense, and you're just plugging them in every week regardless of the matchup. First of all, I don't think you should look at the defensive position that way. I think that the defense should always be streamed based on the offense they're playing against, and these are teams that should go off based on their matchup. In week 3, Kansas City against Atlanta. Atlanta sucks, guys. They had to come back to win this last game. They don't function well against good defenses. They looked very sloppy most of the game against Philly. I don't think that Kirk Cousins is necessarily the answer to make this a good offense. Nothing against Kirk Cousins himself, but the offense is a mess. They won't cut Bijan loose. They're not giving him those 30 touches a game that we were promised. And so I love Kansas City to absolutely tear apart Atlanta in this game. This is a must-start defense for week 3. Next defense on my list is going to be the Colts against the Chicago Bears. This one is obvious to me. The Chicago Bears offense absolutely sucks. Caleb Williams absolutely sucks. This dude is not going to make it in the NFL. This is a offense that absolutely can't get it together. And if you look at the Colts defense, they are good enough. Not necessarily a starting defense in fantasy, but they are good enough to absolutely give the Bears fits in this game. Look for Caleb Williams to create multiple turnovers in the air. Probably going to throw a couple of picks. I love the Colts streaming option against the Chicago Bears this week. Next team on my list is going to be in the same freaking game. I want the Bears against Indianapolis. Look, Anthony Richardson has some of the worst arm accuracy in the league at the quarterback position. Obviously, from a fantasy standpoint, he himself gives you some pretty decent overall quarterback upside because of his rushing abilities, but this dude is prone to turn the ball over. The Bears are going to be getting after him and forcing him to throw on the run. This dude is not going to be throwing the ball accurately on the run. He's not going to be throwing the ball accurately out of the pocket. He has some of the worst arm accuracy in the NFL. You want to start teams that are going up against Anthony Richardson, period. This is a dude who will create turnovers by overthrowing balls, by underthrowing balls, and by just missing wide receivers on their routes. So we are going to be starting the Bears defense with confidence against Indianapolis this week. In this game, I love both defenses. Next and final must-start defense on my list right here is the Raiders against Carolina. We have an Andy Dalton who hasn't had an NFL start really in a while. So, we've got an offense that just the offensive line isn't good. The overall efficiency of the offense has just been absolutely terrible. I don't think that Andy Dalton is necessarily going to come in and just be the answer to all their problems. Will the offense be better with Andy Dalton, as opposed to Bryce Young? Yes, it will be. It will be better. But Andy Dalton doesn't have the talent to make the offense exponentially better single-handedly when every other facet of the offense is still trash. Okay, this is one of the worst offenses in the NFL. We're going to be wanting to start whatever defense is playing against Carolina on a weekly basis. This is one of the best matchups of the week for the defensive streaming position, and I think the Raiders can absolutely tear apart Carolina in this game and might be the best defensive streaming option on the entire week for fantasy. Make sure you plug these defenses into your lineup, guys. I appreciate you tuning in, and I'll catch you later.